Hey friends, today we're going to talk about the EIDL program through the SBA and some changes they've made to the program. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me. The EIDL is a program I've spoken quite a bit about, along with the PPP. Prepare yourself, we're going to be full of acronyms, as tends to happen when we're talking about Small Business Administration or SBA programs. During COVID-19, when it was at its height last year in the United States, it looks like we're spiking back up, but last year it was at its height. The US government announced a couple of programs that were meant to help keep small businesses alive. The main one that people know about was called the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, and that was designed to cover expenses like payroll, rent, things like that. The beauty of that program was that it could be forgiven in its entirety. It could be completely forgiven by the government. And so it was essentially free money. They had another program that had already been around for when we were going through challenging things. It's called the EIDL program, and it's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. So as a note, it was already in existence, but the US government decided to ramp it up as a second program to help small businesses get through COVID-19 challenges. And so businesses that I worked with would go and they'd get their PPP funds, and then they would also apply for the EIDL. Now, the changes to the EIDL have continued to come. The PPP program is no longer available, but the government has continued to make changes to the EIDL to keep it available for small businesses. So I want to talk to you about the big change that they made to this. And what it is they've actually increased the maximum loan amount that you can get through the EIDL program. So what was it? It actually quadrupled. So previously, you could only get about $500,000 in an EIDL loan. They've now raised that maximum amount to $2 million. So quadruple, $500,000 to $2 million. Now, there's some things that I want you to remember when we talk about this, okay? So it's quadrupled. You can get a lot more money, but there's some challenges that come with this. So let's talk about the things to remember. First of all, the EIDL is a loan. It is not a grant, and it is not forgivable like the PPP was. So this is not something that you can just apply for and they're going to send you a bunch of money and then you can just say, well, I'm going to get it all forgiven. I don't have to pay it back, right? So an EIDL is a loan program that has to be paid back. So the key here is don't borrow more than is necessary, or more importantly, that your business can afford to pay back when things return to normal. The reason I'm putting quotes around that is, as I said, COVID sort of spiked last year. It's definitely calmed down a couple of months ago, and now we're seeing an increase again as we go into the winter months in the United States. So don't borrow through the program more than you can afford to pay back or more than you need. So I have talked to some entrepreneurs who have talked to me about the program, and they tend to want to ask for the maximum amount they think that you can get, which in this case is now $2 million. Well, if you don't need that, you definitely don't need to be borrowing that, because it is a loan that you'll have to pay back. Another thing to note, for any loan amount over $25,000, the SBA will be recording what is called a UCC lien on your business. Now, what is that? So you've heard me talk about this idea of collateral and sources of repayment. Collateral is always the secondary source of repayment. Cash flow, the ability to pay back the loan, is always the primary source of repayment. Well, a UCC is basically a lien the SBA will file against your business. And if you fail to pay back your loan, then they can come in and force you to liquidate assets to pay that loan back. So essentially a UCC collateralizes the loan that they are going to give you. So again, anything over $25,000 will be collateralized with the UCC. So don't think that you can borrow $50,000 and then choose not to pay it back and the SBA won't have recourse. They're going to have recourse because they're going to have a UCC filing on your business. Some more criteria that comes with these changes: any real estate collateral, or I'm sorry, any loans over $500,000 will be required to have real estate collateral. So let me restate that. Anything over $500,000 means you have to have some sort of real estate collateral. Now, they don't qualify this on the website, but I would imagine that this could be commercial real estate. Maybe it's a building that you lease, or more carefully, think about this. It could be them requiring a lien against your personal property. I've seen the SBA do that as well. in terms of collateral. So anything over $500,000, you're going to have to give up collateral for. There's one more requirement that you need to think about. And this goes back to the idea of personal guarantees. So any loan amount over $200,000 will require any owner in the business with more than 20% ownership to sign a personal guarantee. So let's say there's two partners. One of you owns 70% of the business and the other owns 30% of the business. Both of you will be required to sign a personal guarantee if you get an EIDL loan amount over $200,000. If it's 90% and 10%, then the business owner with the 90% will be required to sign a personal guarantee. Now, what is a personal guarantee? Touch on that real quick. Basically, it's like a signature loan. Even though your business will be the borrowing entity for this SBA loan, the business will be actually borrowing the money. As a personal guarantee, you are saying as an owner with more than 20% interest, that if the business is unable to make the payments on the loan, the SBA can then come to you as an owner and require you to pay that loan. So you need to think about that when you think about how much money you're going to be borrowing. Now, earlier on, I said that this is not a grant, but I do need to clarify some of that. So for the most part, the money is a loan. You have to pay it back, but there is a small catch. The program does have a grant component where you can get the first up to the first $15,000 does not have to be repaid. This is there's eligible requirements for this. This part of the program is called the Target EIDL Advance Program. And you have to show eligibility that you are in a low income community. So let me restate that. You can get the first $15,000 through the EIDL program as a grant, and it will not be required to be paid back through the Target EIDL Advanced Program. However, you have to be able to demonstrate that you are in a low income community. And I'm going to link to in the notes the SBA's map that they use to determine if you are in a low income community. Now, this is not something they set, just so you know, this is based on census tract data. So from 2020 census tract, they know the income levels based on geographic areas. And so the map that they use leverages that. So you can get 15,000 waived, but you got to show you're in a low income community. The application process, if you're looking to apply for it, I'm also going to include a link in the notes that takes you to a website from the SBA, and it will literally walk you through step by step the application process, links to the application, a helpful checklist of all the stuff you're going to have to submit, and those types of things. This same link will take you to where you can ask for an increase to an already given EIDL loan. So let's say you've already been down this road and applied for the loan, you got some proceeds. Let's say you got $20,000. You can now go and ask for an increase. You'll just have to go back through the process. So last thing I want you to note on this is to remember that these are not the only programs that are available through the SBA. The SBA is still continuing to make what I would call their traditional SBA loans. This is through what's called the 7A process. And I used to run a lender that was the top SBA 7A lender in the state. We were actually that 4 years in a row. You can still apply for an EIDL loan and a traditional 7A loan. The one thing to remember there, though, is that in order to get a 7A, you will have to write a business plan. That is one of the things that I do for a lot of clients in my company. We prepare those business plans based on SBA guidance, knowing what the SBA is looking for a plan and in the projections. So don't just believe that the EIDL is all that you can get through the government. There are still traditional 7A loans available to help you in this process. Maybe you're struggling to stay afloat and these funds will keep you alive for a bit longer while you get things figured out. Or maybe you're doing great and it's time to scale your business and you need some additional capital. So to do that, any of these programs, the EIDL or the traditional 7A, would be a great program to leverage. Anyways, until next time, hope that helps. Hope you find your voice. Have a great day. Hey friends, today we're going to talk about adjustments to the EIDL or injury. Nope, that's not it.